Hey everybody, Scott Kelby here. Welcome to another episode of The Grid. Feel like I was just doing this just about an hour ago. It wasn't The Grid. It was a different set over there. Joining me today is Mr. Erik Kuna. How are you, Mr. Kuna?
Hey, good. How are you?
I am well. We have an interesting day today. A lot is happening in the industry.
Oh, yeah.
Man, it's been an exciting day. Yeah, new software. So just real quickly, Adobe announced Photoshop 2017. So they introduced a new, what they call a full version, a new full version of Adobe Photoshop. Lots of new features. And we just, about an hour ago, 2 hours ago, I'm sorry, did a live webcast for KelbyOne members where we talked about the new features and showed some of them off and stuff like that. And so that was kind of fun. Oh, there's some people there. Yeah. Hey, party people. Stephanie says, hey, party people. Carl from Colorado. Good afternoon or evening, depending on your location. It's, for us, it is afternoon, but over in the UK, it's 9 p.m. because they are on daylight savings time. Mm-hmm. But this is like the last one at 9, right? Then they go to 10. Mm-hmm. And Cindy says, hi, everyone. Hi, Cindy. I think that's probably the same Cindy that was in our webcast today. Good to have you back, Cindy. Mm-hmm. Anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys stopping in. So I do want to tell you that Adobe had other announcements today. Mm-hmm. Apparently, they sneak peeked some new software.
Yeah, that Project Felix, I think it's called.
Yep, and there's some other stuff.
3D software.
Well, look, you got a lower third. Did you see that?
Yeah, I guess. Oh.
You had a lower third.
Moving on up.
Ooh, well, moving on up. Anyway, so howdy from Texas. Keith says howdy. Jeanette, hello from Copenhagen. What a lovely city. You ever been to Copenhagen?
No.
Dude, what a beautiful place. And they have the, it's either Tivoli or Tivoli Gardens, which is the theme park that inspired Walt Disney to make Disneyland. And it is one of the coolest, outside of Disneyland, it's the coolest amusement park I've ever been to. And it was one of the main reasons why I wanted to visit Copenhagen.
Oh, very cool.
All right, well, anyway, getting back to our story, lots of new stuff. So, of course, we're not going to be really talking about the Photoshop stuff today. We already did that for KelbyOne members. You'll read lots about it on our blogs and on Facebook and every place else. Lots of good little stuff.
Yeah, we'll have new training on it. And
we'll have new classes and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of what we do. Yeah. Do want to mention a couple things. First, my guest blogger today, you may have heard of him before. His name is Matt Klaskowski. Matty K is my guest blogger. So if you go over to scottkelby.com and check out Matt's blog, he's got a very good blog today, specifically for photographers, and especially if you're a new photographer. He did a really good post, as he always does. So go check that out over on my blog. Also, you guys have heard me mention Serge Remeli, the French photographer. Now, I want you guys to watch something. When you watch Serge's YouTube videos, he's extremely French for the first minute, and then he sounds like he's from Colorado. He's like,
I've noticed the same thing.
Monsieur, Madame and Monsieur,
like
I'm Serge Remeli, I'm a photographer from France. And then he's like, okay, then you go into the file menu. It's like, I'm like, dude, he's very French at first, but no matter, he's very good. No, Serge is awesome. And so Serge is the man in France. You go to Paris, awesome. Serge has got that town locked down. You know who's got down Venice? Mimo. My buddy Mimo has got Venice. He is the guy that's got all the pictures of Venice, knows all the spots. The two of them are coming together for a workshop March 8th and 13th. Right?
Oh, cool. 8th through the 13th.
8th through the 13th of March. It's going to be sold out so fast. Go to photosurge.com/workshops.
Yeah, and their guys' photos are awesome.
Both, you take two great photographers and put it, there we go, right there. This is where they're going to be. And I'm telling you what, go get it right now. And you'll spend an amazing week with them. You'll learn so much. You'll come back with amazing pictures.
So it's Paris.
Paris in the spring.
And
no, and then there's other scenes.
Yeah.
Then you've got Venice.
Venice and Paris.
Anyway, Peter Treadway. Hey, Scott. Hey, Peter. Good to have you there, buddy. Merry Christmas from the UK. Jorge. Hello from Mexico. Thank you for joining us. And Fabio from Torino, Italy. Man, everybody's on here today. Niazi from Ankara, Turkey. It's 11 p.m. there. Whoa. Yeah, wow. Miguel in Portugal. Johan from Sweden. All right. And say it for me.
Meta?
From Oregon. How can you be from Oregon? You should be called Bob. So No. I'm just kidding. No, just kidding. All right. So I enjoy the grid, never miss it. I have a question. I've sent my pictures in so many times on the grid, but it never gets accepted. What should I do to get it critiqued? Here's the thing.
Statistics.
It's statistics. We
Yeah.
get so many, hundreds of people send in. And how many do we get to in the grid? 15?
Yeah.
Just keep.
It's hard. Yeah. Just keep on going.
Just keep going. Just absolutely keep going. So there you go. And Fran's coming over. Fran's from the UK is coming over to Photoshop World. Says can't wait to see Matt and Serge at Photoshop World. They will both be there. So anyway, so that's what's up. One more thing. I'm going to be in Denver on November 14th, which is Monday. I'll be in Vegas on the 16th. I'm wrapping up my Shoot Like a Pro tour. These are the last dates. The tour's been going for about a year and a half. So these are the final dates. Hope to see you out there. Okay, so I want to talk about today's topic. We have a very interesting topic today. And it's funny because Erik and I have both had things that happened recently that kind of spurred this topic. And we talked about it before. But I had lunch today with a buddy of mine. He was one of the founders of this company many years ago, Jim Workman. So we've been friends all these years. Got together with Jim, and the first thing I wanted to know, I said, because Jim's a tech head.
Yeah, we all are. That's what's kind of interesting about this topic.
First thing, we sit down and go, "Hey man, you see the new MacBooks? What do you think?" And Jim told me all of the reasons why it's so bad. I'm like, what? So then we're doing this webcast. I mention the MacBook, and the guy gets on there and also tells me, here's all the things I don't like about the new Mac. So we do this to cameras like with cameras.
With I remember technology.
I remember when the Canon 7D
Phones,
Mark
cameras.
II came out. Now the Canon 7D Mark II was a huge success. Canon blew out the doors on their sales projections. They sold a bazillion of them. Okay. I've talked to so many people who literally have stopped me and said, "Thank you for turning me on to the Canon 7D Mark II." Before the day it was announced, before anybody held it, touched it, had actually seen a picture from it, or anything else, people were lining up to tell you what's wrong with it, why it's not any good, why it's completely wrong for them, how Canon missed the mark, and on and on. What has happened to us where, and I think there is and that's what our topic is today. It is evolution versus revolution.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to talk about today, because this is something that it's messing us up. It's messing us up as a society. It's messing us up our enjoyment of technology.
We're overthinking everything.
It's messing up our enjoyment of the things that are designed. And you know what it is? Today, Photoshop got better. It absolutely did. I would have to say today's Photoshop is the best Photoshop ever made in history. And people are pointing, well, why doesn't it do this? When are they going to do that? It's like whatever someone does for you, whatever piece of equipment they do and improve, it's like, yeah, but what else have you done for me? And I don't know what's happened to us. Have we become so jaded? Are things so great?
Well, I think what it is too is we're hiding behind the tools. So instead of just looking at them as tools, we're really picking them apart because we think, oh, well, it's the tools that are holding me back, or oh, it's because I don't have this feature, or because I don't have that feature.
Yeah, if I had that feature.
It's just a tool to do your art. It's just a tool to get the job done. You can't look at it like, hey, just because Photoshop doesn't have this, it makes it just terrible.
Yeah. Well, think about this.
Think all the things Photoshop does.
An artist that paints with a brush, that's it.
Yeah.
It's a brush. That's it. It's a piece of wood with camel hair at the end. Is it camel hair?
No, it matters. I mean, there's all different types.
I guess if you buy a good one, it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what it is. It's just a brush. They're not going to come out with this brush is powered by solar electricity. It's just a brush. So and I want to give you some examples. I've written a few things down, if I can just take a look at them real quick, because there was one thing that really hit me, and I read this recently. Now, a website that I like to go to, I don't know if you've tried it out, it's called The Verge.
Oh, yeah.
And they just launched The Verge 3.0 this week, and I went to their site, and I haven't adjusted to the new look yet.
Yeah,
I really like The Verge 2.0, but I'm sure that in a few weeks it will look regular to me.
It's just an evolution.
It's just an evolution. Thank you, Erik, or whatever your name is. But I want to point out an article that I saw there. So the article is from a guy named Vlad Savov, S-A-V-O-V. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but his name's Vlad Savov. Very good article. And it was called The Pixel Phone. Okay, so Google introduced the Pixel Phone. The Pixel Phone is exactly what we wanted. So, of course, we're unhappy. And, of course, I had to read the article because I'm like, that's exactly every camera that comes out. Every new thing is like, oh, well, it's just an incremental upgrade. So that's the first thing. Guys, this is it with cameras, with laptops, with whatever. When was the last time that we saw a revolution in a laptop?
And that was your conversation at lunch. I mean, what he's wanting, it's better, it's faster, it's brighter, it's all the things that make it better.
He was so negative
It's a laptop. I mean, it's been the same thing since basically we came out with laptops.
It is a computer for a very specific user. And so you can think, well, what did I like about it? Well, it's got louder speakers. I a lot of times will listen to videos, KelbyOne training, YouTube videos, whatever, on my laptop without my headphones. Sometimes I just want to hear it. I'm by myself. I want to crank it up. The speakers are never loud enough in here. They don't sound very good, and they're not very loud. They're like 4 times better, louder, with more bass on the new one. You can log in with fingerprint. All Jim could tell me was, it's got a ribbon. It's like, who cares? It's got it's a little faster. The screen's a little bit brighter.
That's what you expect in a new thing.
This is what we all need to get expecting. Whatever the next new camera is, I don't care if Nikon does it, Canon does it, Sony does it, it's only going to be a little better than the last one.
And
that's it.
It's revolutionary. And that's
when was the last time we had something revolutionary?
In cameras?
In cameras. By the way, mirrorless is not revolutionary.
No, well,
it is an evolution of where we're going.
Well, and I kind of looked at that before we went on, like this afternoon, I was kind of looking at that. And really, if you look at it, we've had some revolutions, but they're really far apart. I mean, if you look at it, like photography, we're talking about a couple hundred years, maybe a little over a couple hundred years, right?
Right.
Modern photography.
Right.
Modern photography, as we're talking about it. If you look at it, like the revolutions were few and far between. Like you had 35 millimeter film. That was the first one, probably.
That was the
first. And then
yeah.
SLR cameras, which were 1935. It's like, and then we jumped to like maybe Polaroids and like instant gratification, or like maybe
that was like the
automatic
60s
exposures.
And 70s.
Automatic. Well, Polaroid was 1948.
Wow.
But again, probably mainstream, you're right, because that's where you could go to those numbers. But if you look at it, like I went through, like automatic exposure was 1959. A big one, that I think is a revolution was when they came out with photo CDs, because that's when Photoshop, 1992,
right.
That's when Photoshop, we can actually do something with the photos beyond the darkroom. You have things like digital cameras. That was probably the modern one. Mainstream.
How many years
cameras.
between the last revolution and digital cameras?
Oh, well, 10 years. If you look at that, and if you really look at like camera technology, it was 1959 to 1994.
There you go.
Like that was the gap.
It was
between
40
like
years.
Really revolutionary, like the camera technology, right?
So why, when it comes to photography, do we think now every year someone's going to come out with a camera that is so different and so amazing? You know what you're going to get? Here's what you're going to get in cameras: a better sensor.
Yeah,
right?
It's the common thing.
It's a better sensor.
ISO, shutter
You're going to get less noise, right? You're going to get maybe more frames per second than the previous version. I don't know what's going to have to happen. And so this is what I asked Jim. So I'm sitting there with Jim, and we're talking, and he tells me all the things that are wrong. And Alan Hess just chimed in. Hi, Alan. Alan says it's more about what they took away.
Yeah.
That's a separate topic, Alan, and I want to talk about that, because I have some thoughts about that. Because, by the way, every time Apple takes something away to move to the future, everybody freaking has a cow. When they took away the floppy disk, oh my God, how are you going to get?
Oh yeah, we're going to have a CD. You take away the disk
when they took away the CD drive,
oh
gosh. And now you go, who uses a CD drive? Yeah. If I had to go, I don't even own a CD drive. I can't play a CD.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big beef that a lot of people have in that respect is the dongles. That now we're getting back to like using dongles again. Which again, they did that so they could keep the computer small.
That's
because it's a laptop.
Right, but look how much smaller the power cord is.
Yeah,
the power cord is nothing compared to what the power cord in the last one was. So to move technology forward, you have to cut. At some point, you have to go, we're not using USB 3 anymore.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to go, USB is old, outdated technology. It was really good 2 years ago.
We're not using serial ports anymore.
We're not using serial ports.
We're not.
And Apple is always the one to do it. PCs will never do it. PCs will hold on. You can go get a PC right now with a CD player. You can't buy a Mac with a CD player. They're always the ones that catch the crap.
Well, that's what, so my thing about that is, and I wrote this down, is we always seem to be consumed with revolutions. Like, so we're always attacking and tearing apart these products because we're expecting that. And it's just an evolution. But at the end of the day, those evolutions are necessary in order to get us to those revolutions. So if you look at that stuff you're talking about with Apple, like as much as people want to dog Apple or tear them apart and all that stuff, if you look at the core technologies that they've come out with and the form factors and stuff, they have caused revolutions in the industry. I mean, you had, again, the laptop. If you look at any laptop nowadays, what's it based on?
They all look like a MacBook. Every single one looks like
all-in-one desktop. What did it start out looking like?
They all look like an iMac.
It all looks like an iMac.
What was Windows the machine they just came out with?
A digital music player.
Yep.
What do they all look like? An iPod.
Yep.
What does all the smartphones look like anymore? An
iPhone.
Right? iPad, tablets.
Hey, do you remember, I don't know if you guys watch and remember, that Apple used to be criticized year after year, again and after again, for not having a Blu-ray player that played Blu-ray discs. We went right from
DVD
just went past it. to digital downloads. One of the reasons was there's no Blu-ray. They took it out, and it's like Charles Putnam says, we become a bunch of spoiled, rotten crybabies. Charles, I am with you. There is something to this. We have become spoiled, and we expect these companies to do just unbelievable things. So Adobe just released, I don't know how many features it was, 10 big ones, maybe 10 little ones, maybe 10 enhancements, maybe 20 or 30 things. It's not revolutionary, but it's a better version of Photoshop in every way. And if you're already paying for CC, it just got better today. How nice is that? But people aren't thankful. They're not like, wow, Adobe, way to go. They're like, well, why didn't they do this? And why is it? It's just like, oh my gosh. And I think this is hurting. I think it's hurting the photography industry. I think it's hurting the technology industry. Google came out with probably the best Android phone ever, and all people could tell you is, well, it doesn't have this, and it doesn't have that, and and some people are saying this is the best one ever, but here's what's wrong with it.
Yeah, somebody had "Don't forget the advent of autofocus." I actually had those. I had that one on my list. I kind of skipped over a couple of them, but yeah. So I totally hear you. Like it's just we haven't got to that point where. We realize that these are just tools, and it really you got to step back and say these are just tools in your toolbox.
But these are very mature tools.
Yeah.
The laptops have been around for a long time.
And it's only when you hit those tools that you're like, oh wow, somebody actually invented like a drill, and we can drill into something instead of having to like whittle it down and do that stuff,
Pro Photog wrote, I bumped into a few floppies today. Have no idea to see what's on them. No idea.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Dale says, I just purchased a new 16-35 L glass, so it's a Canon one. Really like the sharpness, but I'm concerned about the new build. It just doesn't seem like it would take a hit as well as the other version. Dale, I haven't seen the new 16-35. Never held one, never seen one. So I'll tell you this. Dale, you just got a new lens that I've been dying for. I'd stop whining. Jen liked that one.
Well, so let me ask you that, like about that lens. Is it just the sharpness was the evolution in that lens?
Yeah, I have the old 16-30. I don't have the nice one he has. I have the old one. And I'll tell you, the sharpness on the edges is not great. It's pretty sharp in the center. It was a thing that was known, like, yeah, the 16-35, great lens, not the sharpest lens in your kit.
Right, so that one's better.
I've read that this one's much better. He doesn't like the build on it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what it would be let you like the build. Maybe it's lighter. Maybe they wanted, I have no idea. Maybe they wanted to be lighter.
It could be lighter.
All right. Let's see. Michael Thomas says, I think Apple handed the keys over to Microsoft Surface. Unlikely, but nice try. Let's see. Don't forget the advent of autofocus in the early 80s. That's true.
Yeah.
Autofocus.
Well, that's what I was saying. I had that, but I just didn't catch it.
Autofocus, you know what I think a revolution in cameras are? Not when you just buy the next version, but you walk away from a way of doing things to do things a new way. When you had flip phones, and it was just a phone, and if you had got a text on it, if you could figure out how to get a text on it, it was a thing. When the iPhone came out, everybody walked away from that. That was a turning point in the evolution of phones. That's when your phone went from being a phone to being something else.
Yeah.
That's a revolution. Can I tell you what? When's the next phone revolution come out? And I asked Jim. I said, "What were you expecting?" So Jim, tell me, what was it that you wanted to get in your laptop that would be different?
What did he say?
Nothing. He had no answer. Not because he's not a smart guy. He is.
I mean, the only thing I could see is that's the comment with the Microsoft Surface. Like, the Microsoft Surface has a touchscreen. Like, the Apple doesn't.
Apple's got a ton of touchscreen.
Apple's got touchscreen devices. The Surface was based on the Apple device. It's called the iPad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it was based on.
If you want the iPad Pro with the keyboard, they already have that.
That was the evolution. All Microsoft did is evolve what the iPad Pro was.
Yeah, they put a touchscreen
or the iPad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they did.
That's just another feature. And you know what? You can go and look at what the figures will be. It'll sell. There'll be people that'll go, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
But it's not going to do iPad numbers. Jorge says that's the downside of social media. Everybody has an opinion and they won't keep it to themselves.
Yeah.
Chris Wiley asked, did they fix tether in Lightroom? Come on, Chris.
No.
I don't believe they did.
I haven't seen any.
I haven't seen a lick of any announcements on Lightroom. So Wim Darkman says what you buy today is old next week, and that's a problem too. Because you know what? He's right. Things upgrade so quickly. There is a new iPhone every single year.
Well, see, but that's where I go back to. I think if we could rethink how we're thinking about the device that you're buying or what you're buying and looking at it more like, am I investing into what it does for me, or do I just want the new thing? Like, I know a guy who every time a device comes out, he's like the first guy in line to get it, right?
Yep.
He does not need it. There is no reason he needs it.
He enjoys being first.
But he enjoys being first, right? But he's not looking at it like, I need this as a tool, right, to do something. He just wants to
He enjoys it.
And I don't take that away from him.
No,
Look at,
that's his thing.
You need that, like we all have our things. But again, if we start looking as photographers, as a tool, because really, if you look at it, you could hand somebody that's really good at photography one of those cameras back from the 50s and 60s. They're still going to get a great shot. So then it's more about the process. It's more about the practice. It's more about what you learned than it is about the gear.
Can I tell you what people will pay for? People will pay for convenience.
Yeah, that is true.
Because you're right. Those old cameras. If you went and got a freaking Canon 20D, went and got a Nikon. I'm trying to think of what an old Nikon would be. 70D or D70, right? That would be D70.
Right.
They still take great pictures.
Yeah.
But you know what people will pay for? Convenience. Do you know what? You look at the new iPad, the new Apple keyboard. It's got a little. You put your fingerprint on it, and it unlocks it. I don't have to type in my password. I just do that. I'll pay for that.
Yeah.
And that is one thing that people will pay for is convenience. If it makes it better, I get it. Joshua says, I bought a MacBook Pro 2015 just for the ports and the SD slot. The touchscreen thing isn't that great for me. Yeah, I that little ribbon in the front, I don't know if I'm going to use that or not. That's not what interests me.
I see a use for it, though. I mean, we were talking about, for video editing, I could see a use for it with the scrubber wheel and stuff like that. I mean, it could be cool.
Hey, Chris has got a good point. He says, Scott, people need to start thinking positive about the tools and equipment we use. Larry Becker's do-it-yourself stuff changes you.
It does.
Yes, it does. And you know what, though? I want to go back to what Chris said here, because you know what it is? We live in such an amazing time. We have such amazing tools. The cameras today are so good, and they do stuff that we never expected them to. Yeah. And you know what it is? It's like, well, Alan's got a good point. He says part of the problem is that companies need you to update or they go out of business. Mm-hmm. Right, they need you, and that's why, but that's what also pushes them, Alan. to create better stuff.
Yep.
But the reality is the products that we use are better than they've ever been. I still love and use my iPad to read ebooks.
Yep.
It is the iPad, the first one. It still works.
Still works.
That's right. I have my first iPad. I don't use it. I have it in a drawer. But I have my original ones, and it
still works.
It still works fine. Cameron writes, the usable phone camera was a photography revolution. I'll agree with you. Here's why, Cameron. For a couple of reasons. One is that it ended the point-and-shoot camera business pretty much. I mean, the point-and-shoot camera business has been absolutely devastated by the phone, and that the fact that every day I now have a camera on me. So it's not my serious camera. It's not the camera I take to a photo shoot. But you know what it is sometimes? It's the camera I do behind-the-scenes photos with. It's the camera I do behind-the-scenes videos with.
It also married being able to have software and the camera all in one system.
That's right.
Because that's really, I mean, that's another revolution there, was that you could have look at like what Lightroom Mobile now.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, your photo editing system is right there with your photo taking system.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really cool.
Hey, we're going to take a short break. We got a lot of comments coming in, and want to say hi to Carbon Vega all the way from Saudi Arabia. And so...
we can always go back to paper and pen.
Will says.
You
can always go back to paper and pen. Wait, can people still write? I tell you what, my handwriting has gone down. It's so bad. We're gonna take your comments and your questions.
Yeah, when we come back, I do have two things that I do think are modern revolutions in photography that a lot of people, I think, aren't seeing.
I'm anxious to hear this.
And smartphones was the third one, but we already talked about that.
We did.
Yeah.
Stick around. We'll be right back. We're live on the grid here with Erik Kuna in the studio. Don't go away.
All right.
Hi folks, Scott Kelby here, and you gotta watch my brand new class on KelbyOne. It's called How to Remove Distracting Stuff in Photoshop. You know, all that stuff that kills your shots. Bright spots in the background, stuff creeping in from the side, power lines, telephone poles, all this terrible stuff that ruins everything from florals to portraits to landscapes to travel shots, all the stuff that's working against you and taking the focus off what you want your image to be. I cover it all. I got a ton of it, but it's not just a course. It's also, I put together all of these projects. So after you've watched the course, you can go back and go right to the project you want, learn exactly how to fix the distracting thing. Boom, you're done like that. Plus you get all the practice files so you can follow right along, and you're gonna have some really challenging, really fun stuff, but there's nothing in this class you can't do. You're gonna be able to rock it. Go watch my brand new class, How to Remove Distracting Stuff, right here exclusively at KelbyOne.
Hello, my name is Gabriel Biederman, and in this video, Night Photography, it is my hope to inspire you to capture as well as create better images once the sun goes down. I'm going to go over all the tools that you'll need, as well as share a ton of techniques that'll keep you more proficient in the field. We'll also experience a variety of nocturnal scenarios, from the cityscapes to the stars, and I'm going to lay a solid foundation of lessons that'll keep you clicking well into the night.
Christy from Shark Pixel here, and I am so excited to talk to you about my new upcoming class. It's all about retouching hair. You're gonna learn how to change color, you're gonna learn how to extract from the background, how to take care of flyaways, and at the end of the class, we're gonna get super advanced and start creating our own custom hairbrushes so that you'll never pull out your own hair again next time you have hair to retouch in Photoshop. So check it out only on KelbyOne.com.
It's always fun.
Hey everybody, we're back. Scott Kelby here with Erik Kuna, and we are talking about camera evolution, revolution, and tech gear just in general, which we all really like. Hey, I want to mention, every Thursday here at KelbyOne, even though we're not really here at KelbyOne, we're in our studios, but anyway, every Thursday there's a new class released at KelbyOne, and tomorrow's I think is especially neat. It is from Karen Hutton. The name of the class is Finding Your Artistic Voice. We did it in front of a live audience. We have a theater here at KelbyOne, actually the next set of studios over. We have a theater. We brought in a live crowd, and Karen did her talk, and I think we do a lot of tutorial stuff. We do a lot of step-by-step stuff. But I think one of the things that we've been doing more and more is inspirational things and things to get you thinking. It's definitely, if you're one of those people who's kind of in a funk, if you're kind of like, I'm kind of stuck, and it's
very inspiring.
It's very, very inspiring and engaging, and it has the ability to open up parts of you maybe you haven't explored before, and basically recharge your energy and get you back out there shooting. So that releases tomorrow, new class Thursday. I mean, some of you that watch this regularly know we actually usually release them the night before at some point, but Thursday is officially the day, so we try. Hey, we have some giveaways today. We're giving away 2 books today to some lucky viewer. One is How Do I Do That in Photoshop? So it's one of my latest books right there, and it's just going to press like today. You have to, there we go. Have to go. This is my brand new Photoshop 2017 CC book. So Photoshop CC 2017. It is based on the brand new version that was released today. And there you go. Hey, Kathy Bateson. Hi, Kathy. Kathy says, by the way, I watched Scott's course on removing distracting objects, and I thought I already knew it all. Jeez, I didn't. Yeah, distracting stuff, I've spent a lot of time. It's a very, I did it like each one of them individually. Hey, did you notice that coffee shop set I was on? It's right over there.
Right over there.
You can't see it, but it's right there. Coffee shop's there. We got another one there. Where I did the webcast is on the other side of this wall over here. So we have all these different studios, and we're in the middle of remodeling a whole bunch of them. So Friday we remodel another new studio. So we're doing lots of new studios and putting a fresh coat of paint on it all. All right. So let's see. Anyway, look out for Karen's class tomorrow.
I like Cindy's comment there. Maybe we should focus on the craft and not the technology. I think that's kind of there's a balance. I think is where I go with it.
Yeah.
You know, because I am a gearhead.
You are a super gearhead.
But I like to balance it. I really like to balance it because we can get so consumed with the technology, and you have to balance it with the craft. You're like, is this just a tool I'm using? And I've seen awesome things. I go back to years ago when we started. I remember one of the first classes we shot, for Kelby training. The camera was the Nikon D2S, right? And it was I don't know, 8 megapixels or something like that. It was smaller than what your iPhone is now. Yeah. I mean, a bigger sensor, but it's amazing how far we've come. And the pictures back then, everybody was like, oh my gosh, if I could shoot a picture like that. Oh.
Yeah, we wouldn't shoot those cameras now. I'd be like, what? Jack says, an architectural photographer friend of mine swears by one of the original 3 megapixel Canon DSLRs and sees no need to upgrade. So, hey, there.
If it works for you.
Hey, if it works for you. And,
go for it.
And let's see what else. Chris says, a couple things. Chris says, hi, Scott. He says, love the webcast earlier. Hopefully this will be as good. Chris, you're very forgiving because, hey, Chris, though I did have to tell you, we figured out what's going on with my computer, why it's eating up memory. So my mail app crashed, and it's trying to bring in, it's going to sound bad, but over 10,000 emails. And when they start loading, and it never finishes because I don't have time, I keep closing it and going someplace else, it keeps downloading a bunch of megs, eating up gigs, and then it just stops. And so I'm down to, now I've removed 10 or 12 gig in the last couple of hours. I'm down to 2.6 gig.
It just keeps on eating.
It just keeps eating away at it. So I'm gonna have to figure this out tonight, or I will have no gig left.
It's because Apple wants you to update to that new MacBook.
Yes, because Apple wants me to. No, it's not Apple's fault. It's my fault. I just got to clear off some space. Hey, Chris does say Karen is brilliant. We'll have to watch that. Karen is. You're gonna love that class. Rick McRae says, can't wait for Karen's new class. I can drive a camera, but still need to work on my vision. Hey, Rick, we all need to. That's honestly, we can learn how to use a camera. We need to kind of be inspired to be an artist. The art part of it is so very important. And the longer I'm married to Calibra, the more I realize that. When you're married to someone who creativity, and my daughter's the same way, just flows out of them effortlessly. And I have to really work at it.
You got to practice.
It's like you got to practice. That's why I love collaborating with Calibra, because we do stuff together. I can worry about the light it, shoot or retouch it, and she'll come up with the vision and the idea and the styling and all that stuff. And but it's like That's the thing. Edward wants to know, how do we win the books? At the end of the show, Edward, which is coming up here in about 23 minutes, we will give you an address where to go, and you just type in your name and your email address, your home phone number, your cell phone number, and a nude selfie, and then we'll send it to you from there. And Nicole says, congrats on the new book. Well, thank you. This is, it literally, I think 7 chapters went yesterday, the rest go today, but I got to give hats off to Jessica and Kim, my book team. They are the most dedicated, talented, hardworking. In fact, I dedicated this book to Jessica, my designer. She's really a very special person,
awesome
and really, they're so good. They're just so good. They make actually writing the books really just a pleasure, and they're just super, super smart. Okay, so
Tom MM 2006, I think, he's asking about the rebroadcast, and yeah, the webcast today will be rebroadcast on the KelbyOne member site.
Yeah, you go to the member dashboard and click on webcasts. All right. Oh, Will Ford.
Don't even go there.
Yeah,
Don't go there.
Willie, we like your comment. We're not going to comment on it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
All right, move on.
All right. So here we go. So can I tell you something? Can I tell you a story? I've only had one political comment.
Don't do it.
No. The entire election, I've only had one political comment, and it was at my master class at Photo Plus East. Can I tell them what it is, or should I not do it?
Hey, it's up to you.
All right, I got.
Go sour.
It went great in the class. The class was cracking up. It was like the funniest moment of the entire class, and it was spontaneous. So in my master class, once I had the lighting set up for one of my setups, I invited 3 people from the audience to come up and shoot. And I said, "I'm told you before you come up here, I'm going to critique your stuff. I'm going to critique your stuff. I'm going to critique your everything." And 3 people like, "I'll come up." Guy comes up and he shoots, and he has our model there. And he shoots and shoots and shoots and shoots, and he's done. And I said, okay, here's my first critique. It's not a product shoot. You never spoke to the model. You never gave the model feedback. You never said you're doing good, you're doing bad, change this, change that. You just sat there and shoot like you're shooting a product. This is a person. Right. You have to get emotion. You have to give them encouragement. You have to interact with them and all. Next person comes up is a woman. She gets up there, tilt your head to the left, do this, that. She obviously had experience. I even asked her, I said, you have experience shooting people, right? She's like, yeah, I shoot portraits and I do weddings and all. So she already had kind of a rapport. The next woman comes up, and she and the model, the female model, become instant friends. I mean, it was like, I'm sitting there watching, like, oh my gosh, they become instant friends. They're chatting, they're laughing, they're going back and forth. I'm like, these two, they just met and they're like best friends. I'm surprised they're not like hanging out. So anyway, she's up there for 3 or 4 minutes. She shoots. When she's leaving, the model and the photographer, they hug. I'm like, I go, I can't compete with that. How do I can't get this simpatico with a woman where you meet someone and I go, yeah, they're hugging. Only Donald Trump would do that to a model. That's the only joke I've had all season. Everybody cracked up. It was really, really funny. My one joke. It's the only one I'm getting. It's the only one I'm taking.
And it's just a joke.
It's just a joke.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Move on.
It's just a joke. All right. Okay. Hey, so you had a story that you wanted to share.
I did.
Well, wait a minute.
I did.
You left us hanging. You give it the cliffhanger there, where you said there were 2 other revolutions. You said there were 3. One of them was the phone.
Yes, one was the phone.
Give me another photography revolution.
All right. So the other one and a lot of people are, when it first came out, they're kind of like, and it's seeing its revolution is light field cameras, and it's the Litro technology.
Okay, the Litro, right? Where you can.
So what people at first, they saw they had the little toy one that came out first.
I had that, yeah.
And, I think they were trying to do develop the technology, figure it out. But if you look at the technology behind it, it is a revolution and will be a revolution. And I think where it's going to be a revolution might not be in cameras everyday use, like we use it, even though you're starting to see computers interact more. The light field is different than like what the iPhone's doing. The iPhone's doing those calculations between 2 cameras to do a depth map. But It's the same kind of concept that there's a depth map. And this is one thing that's interesting is the Litro came out with, or they're coming out with this thing called Litro Cinema now. And what's cool about this, and there's 2 uses, and I'll go to the other one, but Litro Cinema, what's cool about that is it's a camera. Video or it's a studio camera, like a film camera for movies, right? But what's cool is it has the ability to have a depth map. So like this use right here where they're filming somebody in front of a scene, and they're actually extracting a matte without a green screen, without anything, because they're using the light field and doing the depth behind them, creating the mask.
Oh, there's
and then
the mask.
So if you think about it too, what's cool about it is they just replaced the background, right? Without putting up a green screen, without doing anything like that. And then this ability to have it actually track the camera, you know, and be able to like actually see the light field and be able to manipulate three-dimensional objects in with two-dimensional objects without the ability, you know, without a lot of this having to do this processing.
Make everything green
later.
and all.
Yeah. So it's very interesting when you look at the technology that they're using here.
Yeah, but Erik, can I say something? And I'm gonna compare this. So this technology is a breakthrough. I'm not sure for stills that we've had the breakthrough in stills with this. So what you're seeing?
No, we haven't yet. We haven't
Right,
yet. No,
because
but I will be.
Here's
It
what I'm
will
going to
be.
compare this to. We had electric cars for a while. Tesla, who is the most famous electric car maker, is not the. It was not the first electric car.
Absolutely.
Tesla was the one that it became a revolution because Tesla took the technology and they broke all the other parts, which they have, you know, you can go 250 miles, you can go really, really fast. It's a beautiful luxury car. They took the technology, and that's where Litro is. Litro is great technology, but one day when you see this appear in like a high-end DSLR, and it works automatically.
No, that's what I'm
that
saying.
will be a revolution.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's right now.
Right.
I'm not. That's what.
So that's the difference between technology
now.
and a revolution.
Right. So this is going to be a revolution. Like when we're able to actually do this stuff, and it's able to be easy to be, you know, like you're talking about the usability and it's convenient and
Right.
stuff. The underlying technology here, though, is revolutionary. I mean, this will be the revolution. I could see where, if you think about it, at that point, when you're out on a shoot, focus does not matter. Focus just comes out of, because of the way the technology works.
You don't have to put on a fast lens or zoom in or.
Well, the focus, you are capturing the whole light field of the scene. You can refocus later. So focus just goes out the window. You know, like, how crazy would that be, being on a shoot and not being concerned with focus?
That would be.
Like, people want, like, we just sent out a survey. What was the number one thing people wanted to learn?
Camera focus modes.
But think about if you could just throw that out the window and go, I don't want to worry about focus.
You know what that would be? That would be a revolution. All right. All right. What was your other one? That's good, though.
So the other one is going to be in 360 VR photography. That's going to be the other revolution, because what we're seeing is, we've been doing panos, right? And like you were talking about, like the electric cars and stuff. And we've been doing panos, we've been doing that. But now we're getting to the point where the tool is becoming where you can stitch in real time one 360-degree shot and immediately have it, you know. And Litro actually has something for that as well.
Yeah, but we see all these new ones. Who's making all these ones? You've got one.
Well, I got the little Ricoh thing. Yeah, it's just
the little
like,
Ricoh thing. How is it Ricoh made that? I don't know.
Yeah.
They make copiers. Anyway, the Ricoh thing is really, really good. Hey, I'll go with this one. Chris, I'm with you. GoPro with drones is a revolution in the terms of viewpoints you can capture.
Oh, absolutely.
I totally agree.
Drones are definitely
drones. That is
revolution.
absolutely it. Matt Chernitzky says, but the big thing with Tesla is also a marketing achievement. They took something normally designed for hippies and conspiracy crackpots, and they made it into a luxury, aspirational consumer item.
Well, here, let me tell you my thing on Tesla, because you know, I'm a Tesla person, right? So the thing with the revolution with Tesla, and that's where, again, you have to look at the underlying technology of the tool, right? So the revolution with Tesla is that he is revolutionizing the way we use sustainable energy, right? So what he's doing is he's giving you a vehicle in which you can power sustainably without having to rely on anything besides, I mean, and that's what he's doing with
you don't need oil.
Yeah, you don't need oil.
You don't need
coal.
Just
need the sun. I mean, that's his ultimate goal, is you just need the sun. Doesn't that make sense? Isn't that a revolution? Shouldn't we do that? Maybe.
Well, you know what'll be a revolution? Here's another one. Can you heat your house with solar panels? Yeah. But it's that Solar City new thing that looks like real tiles. That's going to be the big revolution that sweeps the country, and everyone's doing it.
Oh, yeah.
So
you can look at everything he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the rockets he's landing back down, because he's like, hey, we shouldn't just throw the rockets in the ocean. Maybe we should land them and reuse them.
Hey, sometimes they land.
Sometimes they do. but somebody had to land them first and crash them a couple times.
Right, you have to crash them a couple of times.
Well, like Facebook just came out with this, which is an open source project.
What's this?
So Facebook just released to the public. This is this is ridiculously expensive, even though it is free. So it is open source free. So you can go download it right now, build it yourself, do all that stuff with it, but it's ridiculous to build it. But the thing being is they're releasing technology to build 360 cameras, the 3D as well, 360 cameras,
right?
And just release it to the world saying, hey, go create content. You know, and that's where it is going to become a revolution, because I can see where people are starting to see, even Nikon came out with a new 360 camera recently.
Did they?
Yeah, they got a little 360. It's called, I forget what it's called, but I can bring it up. But like, it's going to be a revolution, you know.
Yeah, Saeed says, I have the Ricoh 360 and it's amazing. You were using that at Photoshop World. You put up some, can you show any of those?
I'd have to go see. I don't even know if I have any on my computer. Got them on my phone.
Did you put them on your Facebook page?
No.
Did you guys know that if you use that 360 camera
it's
and put it
automatic
on
Facebook.
On Facebook, you can go and look up, look down, go.
Well, use a gyroscope in your, the gyroscopes in your phone to, like, you can actually navigate the picture, right?
Oh yeah, when you're holding the phone, you can.
But the revolution is going to be when you put it on. It's like this year the Olympics were all shot in VR, all shot in 360 by Samsung.
Wow.
Not a lot of people knew that, but you know it was shot, and you could put on your Samsung Gear 360 and watch every event in 360 degrees. Like that's pretty cool.
All righty. So Digital Purposes says, and I think there are more revolutions than I think. Using speed lights with wireless triggers boosted my photography the most. Best investment for me. You know what? I would say that real wireless for flash was a revolution in flash. In flash. All right.
Yeah, here's the Nikon one that they just
there's the Nikon one.
Key Mission 360 it's called.
I didn't see this.
Yeah.
I don't follow Nikon as closely as I used to.
But again, it's the underlying, it's gonna be a revolution, because to be able to be inside the content, of course it changes everything you're thinking about it. I don't even see him, but I remember Juan, we were out at Photoshop World and I actually handed him the 360 camera. And it's funny because, we're video guys. We're used to, we got to move around with the scene and frame up the shot. So he's filming with it and he's holding it up and he's spinning it around and he's moving it. And afterwards, we're kind of talking. I'm going, and he's kind of like, I really didn't need to do that, did I? And I'm like, no, you didn't, because
it's 360. Just sit it there.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to read some comments. See if you can find like that keynote picture.
Yeah.
So Eric took pictures before the keynote and during the keynote at Photoshop World. I want to read some comments real quick. Miles says, my two favorite tips from Larry Becker's do-it-yourself class was using antenna masts for background stands and the pool noodle tool. Makes me want to watch this whole class. I saw a little bit of it.
Yeah, Larry's awesome. We used to we go out and talk just about cheap gear hacks all the time.
Oh yeah, Larry's the master of that. And I think
they're good.
They are. Larry's
good.
stuff it's not crap. His stuff is really, really good. If you're a KelbyOne member, go watch Larry's do-it-yourself photography and lighting stuff. Larry's just really good at finding a great deal or finding a better source or something like that. Let's see what we've got here. Fran says, I don't think we really need all this stuff, but we're used to it now. If they took it away, we would die. And that's what it is. You know what? I just think in general, I'm a personally very thankful person. I'm thankful for everything that I have. I'm thankful for this my laptop's a 2012. It's a little low on drive space right now, but I'm so thankful to have it. I'm thrilled that I have it. And if it comes out and it's a little better, I'm thrilled. I think that every time a camera gets better, for probably the next 10 years, it's going to be a little better. And even when they add, let's say that Canon came out with a new EOS whatever, and it's got the Litro in it, that'll be a nice new feature.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be like we all left. That was why the iPhone was a revolution, because we all left it behind, and we either went with an iPhone or with a Samsung, for which the South Korean government thanks you very much. Anyway, but It's like we left. Like I met a guy in New York with a flip phone. I about blacked out. I'm like, might be time for an upgrade. Anyway, so Kathy Bateson says Scott's new book won't be out for 4 weeks or so. That's going to seem like a lifetime. Hey, Kathy, I think the ebook comes out a lot earlier. The ebook comes out way earlier because with the book they got to print it and they got to ship it. It's got to go on trucks and stuff. But the ebook they just go, here it is, and they send it to you. It's cheaper. So that will be out soon. So Chris Nicholson says the size of the memory card was a revolution. I can remember shooting with a 256 megabyte card. So you know what it is? It was a pricing revolution, Chris, because memory used to be so incredibly expensive. Hey, I think Erik found the. Did you find the Keynote 360? So all it is, you put it on. It comes with a tripod, Erik?
No, it's got a tripod mount.
Oh, as a tripod mount, you put it on a little tiny tripod, and you just hit go. Yeah. And this is from the Photoshop World
everything. It's got the
Keynote.
Top,
Here's the ceiling.
The bottom,
You just set it there and say go.
Well, it stitches it right in the camera. I mean, no software, it just basically spits it out.
And what you're seeing there, by the way, that's just regular old Facebook you're on, right?
Well, it's cool if you're on like a mobile device or something with the accelerometers and stuff. It'll actually, you can move it around and kind of actually be in the photo, which again, we've had that for a few years, and it's becoming, it will be a revolution because we'll be able to have immersive technology, and having that ability to put on a VR headset and be somewhere like VR. I remember VR growing up. It was like, very, very bad. It was like you put on this VR, big helmet and you were like in this polygon world and all that stuff. Like this is actual, it could be VR.
Abhorson says, I still use a phone with a slide-out keyboard. Don't knock my dumb phone.
Again, if it works for you, it's a great tool.
Here's the thing. As long as I don't have to use it, I'm cool with it. If you like it and you're happy with it, how can I tell you, you need to change? It's like, you know what?
Yeah, if that works for you. If you need to just text a text message and that's what you do, or check an email or something like that, it works.
David says, most pros make 90% of their income with 10% of their equipment. That is that's probably a great stat. Yeah. Hey, also, I just want to thank everybody in the forums today that are saying nice things about my book, my books in general. Thank you very much. I'm not going to read them all because it sounds a bit self-serving. But not that I'm above that, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you guys for all the kind comments about the books. And also want to say hi to Martin from Germany. How you doing? And he thanks us for the Photoshop webcast today. You were very welcome. And poor Jeff May says, I'm still using a flip phone. And he put a little sad face with it. Yeah. I'm sorry, Jeff. Jeff, you need to go to Kickstarter. Start a Kickstarter campaign and show your flip phone and go, look,
buy me a phone.
This is where I'm at. And then show like an iPhone 7. And this is where I want to be. I'm going to need to raise $600. How much is if you just wanted to buy one with no carrier, just an unlocked phone? $700? How much is it?
I think it's like $600.
$600. It's enough for a Kickstarter campaign. Yeah. And Erik and I will kick in. Jeff, if we see a Kickstarter campaign, send us the link. I promise you, Erik and I will kick in. It ain't going to be much, but we'll kick in. All righty. Hey, we're just about out of time, so I want to tell you first where to go win the books. The address to win the books is KelbyOne.com/webcast-contest. So KelbyOne.com/webcast-contest. There's a little form. You need to tell us which, of course, choose the grid. Tell us which book you'd like to win. Either my Scott's new Photoshop CC book, which goes to press, I guess the last of it goes today, or Scott's How Do I Do That in Photoshop? By the way, what are the difference between these two Photoshop books? So this will help you choose which one to try to win. The smaller one, the one that's called How Do I Do That in Photoshop, is designed for people who are already used to Photoshop. You're kind of,
it's like, but
you're
it's quicker stuff.
But
it's more.
You're working. You're like, I know there's a way to do this in Photoshop because I've been using Photoshop a while, but I don't know what it is. That's what this is for. You turn to the page, you look it up, you turn to the page, and it tells you exactly how to do it. So this is a lot of like single page stuff where there's one thing on one side and one thing on the other, and it's just how to do that particular thing. I know there's a way to mask this. I know there's a way to invert the mask or whatever it is. I just don't remember it. It's so much quicker. I talk to so many people who keep this beside their computer for that exact reason. I have one for Photoshop and one for Lightroom. This is, I want to learn all about Photoshop. I'm a photographer and I need to unlock all the stuff that it will do. It's only the stuff for photography.
Well, that's going to walk you more through it.
This walks you through
everything. This is going to be like one thing, one topic.
Yeah, you can be brand new to Photoshop and you're okay with this. This will take you through everything. If you're more experienced, you'll skip some of the beginner stuff and you'll go right to this, or you'll get this one right here.
Right.
So that's the difference when you're in there. Hey, Pete Cardwell asks, how does KelbyOne work? Is it a subscription?
Yeah.
It is. It is a subscription, Pete. You can subscribe for as little as what, $16.54 a month, $16.
Yeah, $16.54 a month if you buy it annually.
Yeah, we have
and
over
it's monthly as well.
Yeah, we have over 600 classes. We have over 10,000 lessons, and we have these learning tracks. So when you first log on,
subjects.
you figure out whatever subject you're most interested in. Let's say that it's
40 plus?
40 something plus ones. If you're interested in masking, if you're interested in retouching, if you're interested in cameras or flash or lighting, whatever it is, you pick a track and start there, and it will lead you through, take this class, then this class, then this class, then this class, and then it kind of gets you up and running to where now you can explore just everything. So there's that. You also get Photoshop User Magazine and a new magazine, Lightroom Magazine. So Lightroom Magazine used to be inside of Photoshop User. It was a magazine within a magazine, but this issue we, ready? Split them apart. So now every 2 weeks you get a magazine all year.
Yeah, they're on different editorial
every 2
schedules and
weeks
everything.
you get a new magazine, and it's really, really cool. And it teaches you this stuff. We also have like one-on-one tech support. So if you get stuck with a Photoshop question, so basically,
and those webcasts.
and there's webcasts, the private webcast. So
Private
Pete, there's a
members
whole bunch of
webcasts.
stuff. Go to KelbyOne.com and just watch the little video. There's a video.
Discounts.
Yeah, there's so much to it. It is online training.
It's
but
basically the one place that you can come and you can get all these things to educate yourself about Photoshop, Lightroom, and photography.
Yeah, it's really an educational platform for Photoshop, photography, and Lightroom.
Yeah.
It really is an educational platform. It's not just a bunch of classes.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, it's all in one thing.
Yeah, and then Scott says, oh, it's not me, Scott, a different Scott, says, it is well worth the money to subscribe to KelbyOne. Thank you very much, Scott. Anyway, hey, Corey says, another revolution is Adobe CC. It's weird because it wasn't a revolution that was embraced at first, but do you know how many people have Photoshop today and can afford it at $10 a month? Then actually would ever have been able to use. $700 is what Photoshop cost. $700. Hey, Justin F. asked, anything can you say about the new version of Photoshop? Boy, Justin, we said a whole bunch 3 hours ago now. If you're a KelbyOne member, Justin, go to the, you are. There it says.
Yeah, there you go.
So Justin,
there's a whole webcast on it.
Go to the, log into the KelbyOne site, go to the member dashboard. That's where you go first. On the left, you'll see webcasts. I believe it's already up.
It's already up.
It's already up and running. You can watch it right now, and I take you through all the big features and stuff. And also, he agreed with Scott that says, "Love my subscription." Thank you very much, Justin. Go watch that. You don't have to pay for it. You already remember. Yay.
So I got the one story.
Okay,
so I got this story, right?
We'll wrap up with this.
It was kind of going along the lines. This is what kind of hit me this weekend because my brother-in-law and I were talking, and he was so obsessed over these golf clubs. These Nike golf clubs, he saw they were such a great deal. This is awesome. I really need to get these. Somebody was selling them. This is going to help me. I need to get these. And then
Nike golf clubs are not cheap.
Yeah, but so he's doing all this stuff, and then so he got bummed out because somebody had bought them, and it was one of these things where he thought it was a great deal, and that's when I started to talk to him about because he was like, well, what do I need to do to get better? And we were talking about it, and I'm like, I got to be honest with you, because we both play golf, and we both played golf. And I was like, I got to be honest with you, 20, 30 years ago when I was playing with people, and they had the clubs 20, 30 years ago, they were so much better than me. Wilson
clubs.
Right. But no, they were and I was telling them they're so much better than me. And like they really, I could take those people with those clubs, and that's why I described it as, do you think Ben Hogan with his clubs from years ago that were made out of wood that had none of the modern technology on it. Do you think he could beat you?
Beat the tar out of you.
Yeah. So then I started talking to him about like, and I could see almost a light bulb going off, because he was like, and I was like, this is really what I try to tell people with this whole thing of, you know, like marrying the technology with the tool. Of you can't get so obsessed with the technology, because we have gone from like wood clubs to wood clubs with steel, to steel clubs with steel, to titanium clubs with steel, to graphite clubs with steel, with titanium, and then titanium with beryllium, and what other new feature that, again, like Alan was saying, some
beryllium
marketer
was from Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, well, so whatever, you know, what Alan was saying, you know, where basically, you know, you can get to that point where the market, they're just trying to get you to buy the new thing, but again, it's a tool, it's a club and a ball. You play on a course and you put it in the hole. Yeah. It's not really changed. I mean, that's it, right? But they keep on making new. And I was like, you know what I'd suggest for you to do? And this is what I did early, but again, it speaks to who we are, right? Invest into training, invest into education, invest into practicing. I'm like, do not go buy new clubs. You don't need new clubs.
All right, you're making me pull up something now. All right,
right? You've got awesome clubs. I mean, he has actually an awesome set of clubs. They're just from like 1998. They're really good Titleist DCI clubs from 1998 that he has. They're really good clubs, right? But I was like, if you really want to get better, focus on training, focus on education, focus on practice, focus on support. Those are the things that you need. Then when you get better, that's the time to go buy the clubs, because you'll actually enjoy them rather than throwing them in the woods because you're frustrated. And that's where he was kind of like, oh yeah, and I could see the light bulb going off. And I'm like, that's what I just, you know, I preach that to myself sometimes too, because I'm such a tech head, where I have to go and I have to say, hey, look, at the end of the day, it's about the technology, but the main thing is that where did I learn this? The training, what support can I get, and how much practice did I do? And that's where, if you want to get better at photography, focus on that. Don't focus on the gear.
All right. So Erik, on the heels of what you just said, I want to give you a mini look at something from my first shoot like a pro tour. I'm going to tell it just like I used to tell the crowd, because it has to do with golf. But I just want to mention, somebody asked to please say the contest webpage again. The last address was incorrect. The correct address for the contest is KelbyOne.com/webcast-contest. Right? It is KelbyOne.com/webcast-contest. Now, while we're all talking about the contest page, Jen, can we pick an easier URL for that? Can it just be KelbyOne.com grid contest with no dash and no weirdness? Can you make that happen? You have a lot of power. All right. Okay. So next week we'll have a better one. All right. So I'm talking to Mayor. I'm on control room 2. And I'm going to talk you through this, but I want you to stay on the screen. Don't come to me. So here's what I would tell people. And this is an exact thing that I talked about, and this is part of the slideshow I talked about for anyone that saw me on my original Shoot Like a Pro tour. And because I would say, can I tell you something? Golfers are messed up.
We are.
I said, first off, have you ever seen this place, Golfsmith? I don't know if you guys have one there. We have one here in town. Golfsmiths are pretty much, I mean, they're everywhere. And if you've ever been to a Golfsmith, they are a golfer's paradise. I went into Golfsmith and took pictures with my iPhone, right? And they have everything. They have every club, every putter. They've got every golf bag. They have every accessories. When you go in there, you will lose your mind. But here's why golfers are messed up. Golfers think that if they go in to Golfsmith and buy a particular club or a particular set of clubs, it's going to make them a better golfer. Like, they think they're going to walk in with a handicap of 23 and walk out and have a handicap of 10. They think in their minds somehow that how crazy is that in a store, in a store that you could walk in and buy a piece of equipment that would make you better at your craft.
Yeah.
Silly golfers.
I know. No, it definitely it's a parallel. I mean, it really, and you could parallel that to a lot of things, but that's really like that example from this weekend because and that's where really I was telling because he was asking me like, well, how'd you get good at it? And I'm like, honestly, I got the same clubs I had forever. I did go invest into training. I did actually have somebody like teach me.
Right.
Like
Wanna
one of the
get better
comments were there,
practice.
Jack said, you can't buy a golf swing. It comes down to fundamentals, just like photography. It really is fundamentals. If you can really have somebody teach you the craft of how to swing and the tempo and the timing and all that stuff, that's really what it's about. It's not about the clubs. You really can take that wooden club from like 100 years ago and hit it pretty far.
Yeah, you can. You know what it is? If you're good at golf, if you take Tiger Woods and you go, Tiger, I went and bought you a set of clubs from Target. They're made by Wilson Sporting Goods. They were $79. Tiger, who's not right on top of his game right now, will beat the crud out of you. He will destroy you with those clubs. It will be ridiculous. All right, I want to answer some questions and we're going to wrap up.
Peter's comment's pretty good there.
All right, so Peter Treadway, the wonderful Peter Treadway, one of our dear friends. Before you upgrade your kit, make sure you don't need to upgrade your knowledge first. Exactly what I was saying when I guest blogged on Scott's blog. Education lasts longer than the kit. And then he put a thumbs up emoji. Thank you. I never showed that today on the Photoshop thing. Okay, I got to tell you this. Photoshop 2017 supports the emoji font. Not only does it support it's built into Photoshop. You go to the properties panel, type in the word emoji, and the Apple emojis are embedded into Photoshop.
Wow.
I kid you not. You can do color emojis as a font. 'Cause I don't know if you realize this. You can't do color fonts. All fonts are in black. Except for now, they added, if you type in Trajan color, there is a color font. It's got it's carved and all this. It's gold and it looks, so that's a new thing. It now supports color fonts. And Apple emojis are built in. Is that weird? But does that give you any idea how much emojis are ingrained now in our society that it's added to Photoshop?
I saw a weird thing about emojis. You can buy an emoji domain. You can actually buy smileyface.ws, and it's literally you put in smileyface.ws and it goes to a website.
I heard today.
You can buy an emoji website.
I have not confirmed this, but Apple supposedly released more emojis today. Did you hear this? And one of them is a David Bowie emoji.
Well, I think they announced that they were going to release
real or is it
in the new version, but I haven't heard the David Bowie one.
Yeah, I saw pictures. I've
seen there's new ones that are coming out.
All right, I got to address this one thing. Johan, our regular. What if you're not a KelbyOne member? Is there a way to see the webcast? Johan, are you freaking kidding me? Johan, you of all people in the world should be a KelbyOne member. You're on here every week. You're like family. How can you not be a KelbyOne? I'm like, what? What? Is there a way to see the webcast? Yeah, Johan, go sign up and take the 10-day free trial. Go watch the webcast, and while you're there, join. All right, Johan, come on, really. Chris asks, would you consider creating more business-related courses on KelbyOne? So, Chris, there are actually, and this is why we created the learning channels. Chris, there's a ton of business classes. One just came out the other day, how to sell your landscape prints. That's a business class. That's not teaching you how to do photography. It's telling you the business side. We've got classes on copyright. We've got classes on model releases, property releases, and we have a whole series. There's probably 25 classes called The Business Side of Glenn Dewis, The Business Side of Joe McNally. They're all telling you they're all about the business side. We've got so many classes on the business side. That's why we created those learning tracks.
Plus, so Chris, we're coming out with more all the time.
All the time,
you're just saying, last week we
came out with
just a couple weeks ago, or was it last week?
So Chris, we're always working on this. In fact, we're talking with a couple of people right now. You're going to see some more business-related classes, and you'll always see them. We know that's an important part. So we know that we have to learn our camera gear. And if you'll notice, we're on top of every single new camera we have a class on. We're trying to make sure that if you buy and you join KelbyOne, that there's a class for your camera. In the last month, how many camera classes have we released? Everything, the Nikon D500, the Nikon D5, the Canon 80D, we've got one coming up on the Canon 1DX Mark II. We've got the 5D Mark IV. We had a 5D Mark IV class right when the 5D Mark IV came out. Guys, we're on top of that stuff. But then we have business, and then we do the artistic and creative side, and then of course all the photography stuff. Let's see. Jack says you can't buy a golf swing.
Yeah, we talked about that.
It comes down to fundamentals, just like photography. Let's see. And lots of nice people saying great stuff, best investment. Thanks for the replays of the webcast. Angela's asking.
Yeah, I think
He's asking,
Angela.
Are the magazines downloadable PDFs? You can download them as PDFs, and you can print them or whatever you like. Absolutely, right from the app itself. And Lee says, I love my subscription too. I learn something every time I watch a class. And you know what, Lee? I watch the classes myself. And Peter from London says, I'll be a KelbyOne member this Christmas. I hope I was good. Peter, don't let it be on that, because I don't know. I'm not sure about your year, Peter. I got some concerns. Because now Peter Treadway definitely will be getting stuff for Christmas. I don't know, might be Cole. Gareth says, just re-signed up again to KelbyOne. Thank you, really happy. Yeah. Thank you very much, Gareth. Hey, we have completely run out of time, so we're over time as usual. So I do want to give the contest link one more time because we messed it up. It is KelbyOne.com/webcasts-contest. Come on, we gotta find a webcast. Just individual webcast.
It's so hard.
Why don't we just make it like contest?
Can we just make it KelbyOne
or grid contest,
C.
grid giveaway, something. It's got to be better than that. All right. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I want to thank everybody that attended our earlier webcast. You know, we've done 2 webcasts in 2 days, 2 live webcasts just for our KelbyOne members. We love you guys, and thank you so much for watching. Eric, thank you for joining me on the show today. Thanks to Jen, our professional moderator. She is now the Empress, the Empress of Moderation. That might be a new title. I think I just coined it.
That's something for a business card.
The Empress of Moderation.
The Empress of Moderation.
So now Juan has a term. He has a term named from a Photoshop tool. He's the only person here who has a Photoshop tool name.
Magic.
Magic Juan.
There he is.
Yep. Meredith. We don't have anything from Meredith. But you know what it is? It's out of sight, out of mind. She's in the booth. We don't see her.
She's going to come on the show one day.
Yeah, she will. We've been trying to get her to come on the show forever. She insists that if she comes on the show, she gets to wear her headset and mic. Her and Juan, they go home with them on. She said control. She's the control room queen? Yeah. That is pretty much her domain, isn't it? Yeah. Like, she's customized it and all, put pictures. Anyway, but she does a wonderful... It shocks
you if somebody else touches it, like you had a fingerprint identification.
Yeah, it's all fingerprint identification. Can't get in, but we love Mare. She does an incredible job. You know what also? She has got the best, most even attitude. Meredith is always in a good mood, and she's also ready to bust your chops at any given time.
You kind of need that, though, with these kind of shows.
Yeah, with these kind of shows, it's eat or be eaten. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you guys next week, and take care. It's eat or be eaten.
There it is.